Hey my peoples, it's Chris from By Christian J Films and Photography here, and in today's video I want to share with you how you can create those beautiful pictures with the blurry background effects using just your iPhone. Let's get into it. When you take a picture, whether you're using a camera or a phone, your camera has a special window that controls the amount of light that goes into your camera. It's like a small window that can open bigger or smaller. Let's name this window aperture. This aperture has something called f-stops. What I want you to do is think of these f-stops as different sizes of window. The bigger the f-stop number, the smaller the window, the less light we let into the camera. And the smaller the f-stop number, the bigger the window, the more light we let into the camera. So why do we need different sizes of window? It all depends on your circumstance. Sometimes we'll need to let more light in because it's either darker outside or we're shooting in a dimly lit room. Other times we'll need to let less light in because it's either brighter outside or we want parts of the picture to be sharp and the rest blurry. And that's what we're going to get into today. Just going to set up the shot now so we've got something to work with. I'm going to place this little guy there. These dolphins. Slightly behind and to the left. And then we're going to place this phone the back right. Maybe a bit further back. The important thing here is creating a bit of depth. So we now have something to work with to create this blurry background effect. Next, you're going to need your phone. So now we have the objects where we want them to be. Let's jump into the camera settings to see how we can affect the blurry background effect. So once you open up the camera app, the default should be on the photo setting. The function of the camera that we want to go to is portrait, as this is where we can affect the sharpness and the blurriness of the background. So if we jump into portrait, so you'll notice that the background, so the phone and the dolphins are now blurry. If we go into the top right hand corner, for the eagle-eyed among you, you would have seen that the F number now appears in the top right hand corner when you go into portrait. If we select F, the dial now appears, and by default it will be set to f2.8. This is where we can now play around with the window. So if we're opening the window, we're letting more light in. We're going to be creating more of a blur in the background. If we close the window, we're going to be letting less light in. We're going to reduce the background, the blurry background effect, and bring everything else back into focus. You notice if we go to the right, you notice as we are closing the window, we're letting less light in. The background objects are slowly coming into focus, and I believe on the iPhone 14 Pro it maxes out at f16. Now we're at f16. You'll notice the phone at the back is more in focus, and so are the dolphins. If we then go back to f2.8, doing that slowly, we will go back to where it was before. Phone and the dolphin is now back out of focus. You can increase the blurriness if you like. So now you can barely make out what the two were. One thing to bear in mind when you're creating the blurry background effect using your iPhone or the phone itself is that it creates a digital blur, which isn't going to be as crisp as when you're using the lenses. So that's just one thing that I just wanted to show you what you can do with the phone itself. You may have already known that this function existed, but you might not have known how to manipulate it or what you can do with it. This is just using a few objects, but of course you can use this for portraits. The same thing for group photos. If you want to have if you're taking pictures of a group of people and you want them to be separated from the background, it's important that everyone's along the same plane, because if they're not, some of the people may not be as in focus as you want them to be if you're going to be shooting at f2.8. Now that brings us to the end of this video. Do drop us a like and a thumbs up if you found this useful. Of course, if you have, then please drop us a comment in the comment section below. Any gear that I have used today, I will also share that in the description. Yeah, I think that's it. So happy, it's not actually Wednesday today, it's Tuesday evening. So happy Tuesday evening, people. God bless, and I will see you next week.